Welcome back to the Authentic Human Podcast. And today I'm really looking forward to introducing you guys to my incredible guest, Jesse Beamers. Thank you, Jesse, for being here with us today.
Thank you.
And thank you. Yeah. And so, Jesse, this is a choose your own adventure kind of experience. And you can just let me know. Do you want to have some information from your soul shared with you, or do you want to ask questions and have your soul answer those questions? What feels right for you today?
To be honest, I think I'd like to hear some things from my soul personally. And then if I have questions along the way, I can just shoot for it then.
Perfect. All right, let's do it. Okay. So, transition. I keep hearing the word transition. And it's really cool, actually. I'm just going to jump right in.
Mhm.
So there's been, okay. So what they're showing me is transition has been a theme. It's like throughout your whole life. You're constantly needing to adapt to everything that's going on around you. And they're showing me it's constant change. And there's a part of you that's like, am I ever going to catch up? Am I ever going to find solid ground where things aren't changing all the time and where I can just take a breath and go, okay, I got this. I'm caught up. It's this, and they're showing me 4 years old, 5 years old, where you constantly feel like change is happening, it's occurring, and whether I like it or not. And there was a sense of hmm, like a powerlessness, but also a sense of always needing to be doing things for other people. Is this
Mhm.
making sense so far?
Yeah, it's making perfect sense.
Okay.
Giving
And
me goose-
so, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. That's awesome. So, what they're showing me is, you know, you've been craving, it's funny, right? Because, all this change is happening, but you're craving, it's like a big change so that everything can settle, right?
Mhm.
And the first thing that they want you to understand and know is change is part of our existence. We're evolutionary beings, so we're always changing. Okay. The challenge for you is that early on, there was the combination that too much change is bad. Too much change is a bad thing. So in your belief system, it's there's all this change, and it's I'm always trying to catch up. I'm always trying to be enough for for the people around me, but also for the goals that you have for yourself. So it's not just trying to please others, it's trying to please yourself.
Mhm.
And what they're showing me is it comes from this sense of, gosh, it's so the saying that they want me to use is being behind the eight ball. So you're constantly, I don't know if you ever played snooker.
Yeah, a
It's
little bit. Yeah.
okay. So it's understanding that you're never your path never feels straightforward. It always feels like you've got to get something out of the way first so you can actually see where you want to go, right? That's that behind the eight ball feeling is how they're showing it to me. And what happens is for you inside of that, there's a lot of frustration that builds up. There's a lot of anger, there's a lot of resentment that comes up. And you don't know what to do with that. So there's a part of you that's like, how do I deal with this? Because now now on top of feeling like I can't see where I'm going, now I have to deal with all these emotions that are coming up. And I still have to be a dad and a husband and I have to go to work and I have to do, like, these are all the things that I still have to do inside of this. It's like a tornado the way they're
Mhm.
showing me.
Yeah.
And so, right, like it's just,
Yeah.
and and the importance of the tornado is like the significance of it. It's important for you to understand because it never stops, but you can't see clearly through it either, because debris is always in the way. So even if you're trying to look out to see where, okay, where can I jump out here and get a handhold or a foothold, you can't see out clearly. And so this is what really, this is why this whole experience is happening today. And this is what they want you to understand and know, is they're going to give you some clarity on how you can step outside of that tornado and how you can allow yourself to find the peace that you're looking for. Okay, because really that's what's driving you, is this need and this desire for inner peace.
Yes.
Okay, and so this is making sense so
Yeah,
far.
this is making perfect sense.
Okay, perfect. So the first the first thing is, they want you to recognize, and they need you to recognize, because you need to recognize in yourself that you're really good at change.
Mm,
Like, so good at it, it's more natural to you than anything else.
hmm.
So just because you're frustrated with it, because it seems like it's always coming at you, it's like, the way they're showing me, those clay, when you shoot the clay discs,
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
where they
yeah.
just keep coming and coming and coming, like it doesn't matter. And that's kind of how they're showing it to me. It's like change constantly feels like it's coming at you.
Mm,
It's it's really, it was preparing you for what's to come. Okay,
okay.
and it was setting up your foundation, so that not only are you going to be able to deal with it, you're going to be the one who can lead others through it.
Okay.
Okay, because you have a very calming side of you as well. So you have this one side that's frustrated and it doesn't know what to do with all this change, but that's because there's a bigger picture to it. And part of you knows that. You've always known that. So it's this feeling of, you know, okay, where does all this stuff fit? Like I now I need some more direction, right? I've had all these experiences in life, but now I need to have some direction and understanding of, why did they all happen, right? And where is it going? And so that's really what they want you to understand, is you've been prepared for change in ways that most people, they can't even imagine.
Right.
Okay, and what you're going to be doing, and they're showing me in the next 4 to 5 years, your impact is, it's going to quadruple, because you're going to this next level of self-awareness.
Right.
Okay, and so what they want you to first start to recognize is, yes, you're here for a reason. All humans are here for a reason, but your reason is about acceptance of self.
Mm,
And when you do things that look different than other people would do them, when you do things that you say something and it's different than how someone else would say it, what they want you to understand is there's a reason you're thinking and you're saying and you're doing things in a unique way that's unique to Jesse, right?
right. Right.
And they want you to start to own that, to get comfortable in it, because it's your comfort level that's going to transition you to the peace.
Okay.
Okay. Right now, you're still on, it's like sitting on the edge of your seat going, okay, what does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? And what they want you to do is just embrace the fact that it's change, that you're honoring, okay, there's more change. Clearly, I'm ready to learn more about the dynamic of change itself. So it's not so much about the experience, it's actually about the pattern of learning how to deal with change.
Okay.
Okay. Because okay, so this may sound really big and feel like, oh my gosh, that has nothing to do with me, but you're here for a reason. Okay, and what they're saying is, humanity is going to be going through immense levels of change in the next 9 years total.
Right.
And you're going to be guiding a lot of people through that transition because you're meant to. Okay. It's
Okay.
not going to be in ways like other people are doing it, right? Because you have a particular way about you and you see things very clearly. And it's remembering that when you say something, when you see something and it's so simple, you're just like, how do people not see this?
Mhm.
I want you to start to pay attention to that dynamic.
Okay.
Okay. Because it's really cool because it's such a simple shift, but it's what's unique to you because you have a hyper awareness of the simplicity of existence.
Mhm.
Okay. And for the last few thousand years, humans have been taught to put value into complicated. The more complicated it is, we've been told the more valuable it is. And the
Right.
problem with that approach is it screwed up everybody
Right.
because the truth is, universally, simplicity is the most valuable and it's the way to truth.
Mhm.
And so you have an incredible knack for seeing the truth instantaneously. And that's also uncomfortable sometimes.
Mhm.
Because there's things you don't want to know. There's things you don't want to feel. There's things you don't want to hear. Yes.
Yeah.
And so you also look for ways to pretend that you didn't see them or hear them or feel them. Because
Mhm.
if you pretend you didn't, then you don't have to deal with it, which is well, it's not really great if you feel into
No,
that.
no, no, no. I don't. Yeah. Yeah. That's
I was going to say,
easy.
and how's that working out for you? Well, it's not so great, right? Because it ends up coming back and hurting you, right? And so what they're saying is it's time for you to accept that your uniqueness is it makes you who you are.
Mhm.
And it's time to it's applying your unique perspective of the world to all your conversations and experiences instead of bending to other people's perspectives.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep it simple. That's what they're saying. Keep it simple. So in your brain, if you're like, okay, is this where I'm supposed to, or is this where I'm supposed to? You're overthinking it. It's not simple anymore.
Okay.
Okay. It'll literally be what you said doesn't make very much sense. Wait a minute. And ask people, can you clarify what you just said? Because it doesn't actually make any sense.
Right.
And if you do it in a way where it's inquisitive rather than the inquisitor,
Yeah.
right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's your energy is different. So it will be taken in a way that is loving and respectful and kind, right? If we do it in a way of you don't know what you're talking about or why would you say that? And this is another aspect is, you're you have a strong masculine energy. And
Mhm.
so because of that, it also intimidates a lot of people. And so being more consciously aware that just your presence can intimidate other people. So it's
Mhm.
softening your words even more, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
because you're so kind and you have this giant heart and the people who know you well know that. But to see you and have your energy walk into a space, you're like, I am here. Right? And that's
Yeah.
good. That's
Yeah.
good because I know who I am. I know what I'm meant to be doing, but it can be really intimidating for other people. So it's remembering when you walk in that instead of I am here energy, it's more of a what's going on in here energy,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right? Like, let me see what you guys are doing, right?
Yeah.
Whatever it is. So play with that a little bit. Even when you like when you go to the gym or you go to a restaurant or, you go to the coffee shop or even, it doesn't matter. When you walk into a room and there's other humans, especially humans you don't know, because this will be the most fun. And then when you walk in with your family and humans you do know, try it different ways, right?
Yeah.
But with strangers, walk in and watch different energies, like literally set an intention, be like, I'm going to be this guy when I walk into the room here, and
Yeah.
see what happens. And then another time, try it a different way so that you can start to play with energy itself. Because I know you feel a lot of energy.
Mhm.
And that's a lot of the time when you're like, nope, I don't want to see that. I'm going to shut down. I'm going to pretend that didn't happen or I didn't feel that. You know, it's that overwhelming sense of, and I'm seeing it like when you were younger, it was, Jesse, don't get too caught up in your emotions. Don't get lost in that. Right. And there was a lot of correction, a lot of correction being made when you were younger of telling you how you feel, when you feel it, when to feel it.
Right.
And so it didn't give you a sense of learning how to do those things in a way that is relatable to you.
Mhm.
So now you're trying to manage, okay? You're now an adult as you're a husband and a father, and you're trying to manage your how you feels based on all these old beliefs that other people gave you. And
Mhm.
you're like, none of them feel right though. And what happens is you haven't given yourself any leeway to change the belief system. Does that make sense? It's
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
still following their rules instead of, and that's what your soul wants you to know more than anything else, on this call, in this experience. It's you need to honor how you feel all the time.
Right.
Number one. So no more pretending, oh, I didn't feel that. That never happened. No more of that. And it's honoring how you feel so that you can actually discover what the message and the lesson in that learning is. Okay.
Okay.
That makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I feel like ever since like you said, since I was young, I've always either wanted to feel like somebody else, or maybe I was made to believe I had to feel like someone else. And like just over the years, I've never really been able to. I feel like all of my thoughts and my decisions have been based off of like what I've learned, not so much like what I feel. Right? It's like, oh, I'm supposed to feel this because this is what I learned when I was younger. I'm supposed to feel this because this is what I've seen and this is what I was told to do when I was younger. To a point where like sometimes I feel like you said, I'm in a tornado and it's like I don't even know how to think for myself sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love what you just said. I always feel like I want to be someone else, and yet I'm not really sure how I feel. But it's that knowing right there, you just nailed it, is I'm not being me and I do want to feel someone else. I want to actually feel myself, but yet we don't put together the fact that we've disassociated from ourselves. So it's this constant search for, I'm looking for someone else
Mm,
or some other way to feel that's other than who I am. But really it's actually you want to feel yourself, but you haven't been able to do that. Does that make sense?
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Right? It's backwards, which, this is why humanity is in this sort of mess and struggle that we're in, and people are suffering, right? Depression and anxiety and all these things come out of the fact that we don't know how we're meant to feel because we've never been allowed to feel,
right.
right? Like we've been taught how to react,
Yes.
not how to feel.
Right.
Right?
Yeah,
React to your emotions, never go to the place where you feel.
right.
And so they want you to start feeling, but honoring how you feel.
Okay.
Okay. So emotions are the triggers. They're the little, it's like when you get to the stoplight, your emotion is the red light that says, pay attention here. Okay. And then your brain goes, okay, so I'm going to start to feel I need to proceed with caution, okay, to
Mm,
the yellow light. And then the green light is, how do you feel? You're right in there. There is no, it's a free flow, but it's a free flow of truth. And it's understanding most people don't go to that place because 99% of the time, you're going to find something uncomfortable hiding there,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
It's either we're doing something to someone else we shouldn't be because it doesn't feel good, or we're letting someone else do something to us, or we're doing something to ourselves. We're not
Mm.
seeing a truth. And that's really where you are in this amazing experience is, you've become a master of change, and now you need to allow yourself to restore your ability to feel, right? So
Mm.
you have the ability. It's never left, but you've ignored it. You've pretended you don't feel so you can stay over here in the safe place. And the reality is, yes, there's going to be things that you're going to go, whoa, I don't like that. But underneath that is the freedom from it. That's where your peace is hiding.
Okay.
It's underneath what you're going to find. So don't fear the feeling. Don't fear what you're going to find, even if it seems big and dark and scary and ugly. I've been doing it for 20 years. I can
Hmm.
tell you there are some things where I am literally like, oh, I just want to take my skin off and I want to melt away into the
Yeah.
ethers and never exist, right? Out of just shame for, oh, that was the person I was being. And
Hmm.
then you get up and you go, oh, I looked at it. No, it's really not that bad. It's not that big of a deal. It's when we don't honor it that we carry the fear of the shame, which is worse than the actual experience of seeing the truth. It's
Okay.
a million times worse. Okay.
Yeah.
You're incredible, and your energy is incredible, but your willingness to see truth, it's right there. And you're so ready for this. And this is why, the last 3, 4 years have been, it's like they're showing me like a bit of a roller coaster, but really tumultuous. And it's been a reflection of you were ready, but you were like, yeah, but I don't really want to just jump in. I want to see more, but oh, I'm going to hold back a little bit. And it's the holding back that actually causes more, like they're showing me like, um, when you get those not good butterflies in your stomach, right?
Yeah.
It's that anxiety sort of feeling and it
Yeah.
comes up. There's, that's, that's as a result. It's almost like an ulcer is kind of the energy, right? And
Yeah.
yeah. And that's what's coming up. And digestive issues will also result from that because you're you're a superhuman. You feel deeply. You
Hmm.
you just do. And if you don't process how you feel, your body starts to shut down.
Okay.
It's and when I say shut down, it's not like it's going to turn off and it's going to stop working. I
Yeah.
mean, different parts and different processes don't work to their full capacity, right? It's
Mm.
just it's if it's the same thing. If you're not using your ability to feel because you've turned that off, then it turns off on other parts in your body. It's just we have to be fully aware. We have to be able to feel what we're feeling and allow that experience to unfold so that we're in peak performance.
Right.
Okay. It's all part of one system. There's not a separate physical system, emotional system, energetic system. All three have to work together. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Yep. Makes perfect sense.
It's it's really cool. Yeah. So they are showing me that over the next few months, you're going to have some big questions come up.
Mm.
Um, in relation so there, and they don't want to trigger this is what you needed to already confirm what you knew, but it was also the kick in the butt you needed to
Yeah.
actually do it. Okay.
Yeah.
And what they're saying is it's going to trigger big questions that are going to start to come, big questions about your existence, okay, and just life itself. They're going to be bigger. And they're saying they don't want you to fear having those bigger questions. Sometimes it's more uncomfortable because it feels, it's almost like depression goes along with those bigger questions.
Right.
Okay. If that makes sense, because the fear of what is the answer going to be? How is that going to impact me? How is that going to impact my life? We, it's almost like it stalls the process. Okay. And they're showing me you're good at stalling. Okay. You know that, right? You're really good at it, but you've sat in that stalling phase for enough years that, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't, like, everything gets tense. Like even your jaw gets tense. They're showing me even like your eyesight it's not as clear, if that
Right.
makes sense. Like it's all these things that can compound, right? Like the mental, the physical, and the emotional. But when these bigger questions start coming down the line, they want you to relax into them. Okay.
Okay.
And instead of worrying about them, they want you to have fun with it,
Okay.
because it's your joy that's going to be reflected for others. And remember, they said, you're going to start leading other humans in powerful ways. It's going to be connected to that.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a lot
So
of,
a
yeah.
question for these questions, like will they just come as like thought processes? Like how will they, like a feeling that I have towards something, or like I'm just kind of curious as to like what to look for. Or like not
It,
sorry, just to be aware of.
yeah. Oh, good. I like that. I like how you changed that. So it's a little bit of both. Sometimes you'll be just driving along and all of a sudden a thought will pop in and you're like, oh, I never thought about it that way. Okay.
Mm.
And if the thought makes you uncomfortable, right? This is the poignant moment where it's like, oh, I don't want to think about that. I'm going to go over and think about something else.
Yeah.
And that what they're saying is stick with it, because that thought came in for a reason. So instead of fearing the thought, it's time to face the thought and go, okay, what's really going on here?
Okay.
Okay. So if it's something that creates fear, okay, they want you to look at what it is you're fearful of and then go, but is that even true?
Okay.
Okay. Because they're using the word scenarios. There's a lot of scenarios that you run through your mind, really on a daily basis. You're very, very good at this. And you're okay. So you're a precautionary planner. And what they mean by that is all this change that's happened, you're always prepared for more change. So, as soon as something starts to go, oh, even a little bit, looking like change is imminent, you're like, okay, plan, let's put the plan into effect. Let's take action. And that's that precautionary approach and precautionary attitude. And what they're saying is you kind of got to check that at the door, because when those thoughts come in, instead of thinking, okay, well, how can I plan my way through this? It's okay, what am I meant to learn here? What do
Mhm.
I need to see? What's going on that I either need to let go of, or I need to recognize that it's not even true, but I'm still believing that it could happen. Do you
Mhm.
see what I mean? Like it's an understanding of how you're looking at things rather than the situation itself
Right.
and the
Right.
actual dynamic. So it's cool because you're already doing it. It's just right now your go-to reaction is precautionary.
Right.
Okay. And they're showing that you don't have to worry, because precautionary is worry, which is based on fear,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that's a constant state of being under pressure, constant, right? And so what they're saying is you can let that go, because you're taken care of. You're always supported. But it's just your childhood that told you, nope, if when people say to you, if you act like that, no one's going to be your friend.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh yeah, super
yeah,
fun, right?
yeah.
Those little things stick with us, whether we think they do or not, and they stick. And what they're saying is, it's time to let those go.
Okay.
And you'll see where they are when you stop looking at it as being, okay, I got to take precautions. It's now, what are they showing me? What do I need to see? How can I expand my perspective here? And it's really simple because you have the ability to feel and get the truth right away. And you just have to not ignore that truth, even when it makes you uncomfortable.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Yeah. Makes perfect sense.
Right?
Yeah.
It's one of those things where you're like, yep, okay, got it, got it, got it.
Mm.
But you also see at the same time, and you get it so clearly because you see where these opportunities have been, and you're like, no, I don't want to play that game.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
It's that awareness. And that's the coolest thing, is what I love is how open you are to that recognition, because that's what's helping you see it so clearly now. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not uncomfortable, right? It's not that big of a deal.
No,
So
it's not.
remember this the next time when you see something that you think is going to be a big deal. It's not that big a deal.
Right. Okay.
It's not that big a deal.
Yeah, it's not that big a deal. Yeah.
It's not, because it doesn't matter what challenges we face. We always have to come out on the other side. We get to choose whether we come out ahead or if we're going to continue to carry it over and over and over again.
Right.
So if you deal with it, you're allowing yourself to actually feel it and deal with it and get to the other side. That's where the peace is hiding.
Hmm.
It's when we're like, I'm not going to deal with it today. And then, do you know how much of your mental energy, your physical and emotional energy goes to carrying that around? Right? That impacts everything. That's the thing that actually brings depression and brings anxiety and brings all the other things that we don't want to feel.
Right.
And it also blocks us from the peace that we're craving.
Mm.
Make sense?
Yeah, yeah. It's funny that you say that, even this whole entire message, because like I've always felt like I was here for something. I just didn't know what it was for. And like I used to share with my wife and say, like, I think I'm here for something big. And she's like, well, what? And I'm like, I don't know what it is, but it's bigger than what, like, being some sort of speaker or something like that. I just truly thought I was meant here for something. And like there's been several times during my life where like I felt like it was my time to go, but like there was a reason why I still stayed. And then
Yes.
you saying now, like, I'm already aware of that and it's not uncomfortable. It's like I'm aware that I'm supposed to be here for something. I just can't put my finger on it. And then that's the constant like questioning, like, well, what is it? What does this mean? What does that mean?
And they just want you to feel, because your answers are going to come through the feeling. You're so good at feeling, Jesse. That's,
Hmm.
that we were created to feel. That's how we learn. When we feel, that's how the universe can communicate with us. That's how your soul can communicate. That's how your awareness expands. It's when we go through our mind that we block all new awareness,
Hmm.
right? And we have to, if you try and read on other people who have, who are experiencing what you're experiencing, it's all mind stuff, and it's never going to change anything because you're not actually feeling it. When you feel it, it changes instantaneously. It's simple
Yeah.
because when you feel it, you have the experience
Yeah.
and it's done. Then you're like, okay, I got it. I got all of it. I got what you're saying. I got what I needed to know. I know exactly who I need to be now. Everything becomes clear when you feel.
Hmm.
That's why feeling is a superpower, right?
Right.
But to your point, you're not hanging around here just to do what everybody else is doing,
Right.
and what everybody else has been told. This is how we do life. This is what there is to it, right? There's this knowing. And when we have a higher path, it brings a lot more, like when you feel so deeply, it brings a lot more experiences where we question our own existence. Why am I here? Is this worth it? you know?
Mhm.
And, I mean, I don't know about you. I know for me, myself, I had a number of times where, you know, I thought, okay, suicide is a way to go, right?
Mhm.
And, you know, but it's important to understand that those of us who feel energy and have awareness and know we are meant to be here for something other than this, the suicidal thoughts, the depression, the anxiety, they are a result of knowing that message while still living underneath the umbrella where we feel caught and we
Mhm.
can't get out of it. And so when we have those thoughts, and this is really cool because I know it's not necessarily your story, but I feel like so many people are having that experience and they have over the last 15, 20, 30 years. And we need to remember that that in itself, the choice to stay, even when it's hard, the choice to find our path, even when we don't know what we're looking for, right? We just know it's more than this.
Right.
It's more than this. Like what you were saying, it's it's vitally important that you know that that feeling in itself is your bright light. It is your guide. It is your navigation,
Mhm.
and it's not worrying when you can't explain it to other people. It's not feeling lonely when you can't explain it. It's feeling empowered because even though nobody else understands you, nobody knows what you're going through in this moment, you know there's more and you're on this journey to figure it out.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Yeah, that's something I've been trying to do lately is like if something like either whether it's fear, uncomfortable, is trying to lean into that feeling because that's usually the feeling that is going to make a change. It's not easy. I don't do it all the time, but it's something that I've been really trying my best to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lean into how you feel and what you want to experience. Okay? Because when you feel into, does this feel good or do I want to experience something different? That's going to be your guide, right? How you want to feel is what should drive your actions,
Hmm.
not your precautionary, let's protect and let's keep everything safe and let's not feel, right? Because really it's the precaution against feeling, right? That's what you've been using, which is kind of interesting, really, if you think about it, right? And I will say that the greatest masters of wisdom in existence know their aspect of existence inside and out from all sides. So, you've been learning and you've been on this path of understanding how to trust what you feel because you already feel. We know that. But now you're on this journey and you have been for the last 4 or 5 years of trusting how you feel, which is a completely different experience again, right?
Yeah.
It's not just here, let me feel. Now we got to trust what we feel. Oh, that's a whole other level of of faith in yourself, right? And being willing to participate in that higher knowing, right? That knowing that you're meant for more and you're meant for something else. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah. But you're in this, like, they're showing me it's like this breakout role right now. If you imagine, like, it's someone who's been an actor forever, they've been all these little bit parts, and now they're in their breakout role, right? And so breakout roles happen behind the scenes first, right? The whole film or show, it's filmed before anybody gets to see it. And they have all the experiences, they have all the retakes, they have all the whatever needs to be done, the cutting, and then they make it look pretty. That's where you are. You're in that place. So this is not the place where you have to worry that the world is watching. You're
Okay.
doing this in your way, in your safe place, in the sense of, you know, using literally using the people you love the most as your trials for what you want to feel and how you want to feel, right? And then how they were saying, go in with strangers and notice the energy you bring into a room and the reactions you get, and try them all. Like, try everything. I really want to hear about this. I think
Okay.
it's going to
Okay.
be awesome. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, just imagine in your head, like, who am I going to be, like Hulk Hogan, or what's that guy? What's the guy that used to turn green? What is
Oh, the Hulk.
the
Yeah.
Hulk? I
Yeah.
want to be the Hulk, right? And, you know, it's like, have that energy when you go into, and then next one, like, in your head, be like, I'm going to be Tinkerbell. And I know that that sounds silly to other people, but it's soft, and she's like, you know, lots of energy. Well, she's not really soft. She's got tons and tons of energy, but it's being able to learn how energy works, because you're really good at feeling. So the more you play with these energies, when you start to do that, like they're showing me, when you start to walk into a room and just embody that, you're going to watch what happens, and it's going to start to blow your mind. And this is what's going to trigger those questions coming. The
Okay.
more you be in it, the more is going to come out. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
It's really cool.
You know,
Yeah.
something else that you mentioned, like the change, and like I'll be 100% honest with you, like when I was about, I think I was like 14 or 15, I did try to commit suicide. And when I came out of that, I made a very conscious decision that I did not want to be the person I was, and I was going to create this new person. And I got this whole new persona for the longest time. There was some pieces that I thought I got rid of, but the ego, the person that I thought was keeping me in check in the strong version, was the thing that kind of just hangs on there. So like even through some of these moments now where I'm trying to feel differently, the ego always comes in and kind of like, says like, put yourself in check. Like this is not what you want to do. And
I
like over the
do.
over the past few years, my wife always gives me trouble saying like, oh, you don't feel, you don't cry. And to me, I'm thinking like, yeah, because I need to be strong. I need to show this. And I'm for the longest time I thought I was strong and like indestructible. But then to me, I think that's almost like being weak, right? It's like I'm trying to hide. I'm taking the easy way out, not wanting to feel what I'm intended to feel.
That's the precautionary, right?
Mhm.
That's exactly it. Is I don't want to feel, because if I feel, I'm going to let other people down. Those are
Mhm.
the beliefs, right? And the reality is, you do feel. You just are really good at putting up a front that you're not feeling.
Mhm.
And so that's really what's going on, is just let yourself feel, and let other people see that you're feeling, because that's one of your superpowers. And what will happen is you'll become stronger when you feed it,
Okay.
right? There's peace in that, because when you can let everyone know how you're feeling rather than the emotional reactions, then they know where they stand with you. And you're not carrying the burden of needing to be someone else for them, because that's a huge burden.
Mhm.
And then the energy gets released. The energy of the experience itself gets released. So nobody's carrying it. And then every day is peaceful. That's where the peace is. It's so cool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No,
cool.
you're so true. It's so true.
I love that. Yeah. And, it's what's awesome is, you said 14. You had
Yeah,
that
I want to say, yeah, I think it was like 14 or 15. Yeah.
to have the awareness at 14, 15, even 16, if that's to know that I'm going to be a different person after this, because that sucked. It didn't
Yeah.
feel good, right? Really. I mean, you said it much more elegantly, but at
Yeah.
the end of the day, to have that awareness of, I need to do life differently, that's
Mhm.
massive,
Mhm.
massive. And there's a reason. That's that inner knowing. That's the part of your soul calling, right? It's, wow, you understood. No, this is not working for me. And so what happened though is that you created a system where then you prevented yourself from feeling, because if you did that, that was the precautionary approach, so that you wouldn't have to feel, right?
Mhm.
So because too much feeling before, So then you went, okay, no feeling. And now they're saying, okay, you can go back to the feeling because you're not that young person who has, who's in a situation where you're going to be influenced by everyone else's belief system. Now you know that there's a reason that you feel that way because you're meant to, and because it's guiding you towards something that is so much bigger than even right now. And so now it becomes a superpower rather than something to be scared of.
Okay.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesse, thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
for
No.
sharing. That was awesome. Oh my gosh. So,
Mm.
how are you feeling?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Actually, like I said, there's been a lot of things you taken the words right out of my mouth. So
Love
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That's good for me. That means I'm doing a good job.
Yeah, like the biggest one coming in tonight, I was trying to think about what I wanted to feel, and I couldn't really come up with anything, and it was just like just let come whatever comes in. And then the other thing, you had said that like I already know the answer, but like I just don't want to admit it. I kind of feel like that, although I don't think I really fully know the answer. But like you said, I feel things like pretty deep, and I just choose not to go any further than that. Just keep it at the very surface level.
Yeah. And now you're ready to go deeper
Yeah,
because
yeah,
and you don't go deeper with everybody right away, right? Because
right, right.
that would be really uncomfortable. That's not the whole mission, right? The mission is, okay, every day, let's do something that takes me out of my comfort zone. And sometimes you're going to be radical, and sometimes you're going to be like, yeah, I'm just going to see if the cat wants something differently, right? Like, it's okay. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be, but if you make a commitment, because I know, you have this energy where if you decide something and you make that commitment, you're strong with commitments. And,
Mm.
you know, that's one of your, what's the word I'm looking for? Regimented. Once you make a commitment, you stick to it and you're going to
Yes.
do it. And so that's also part of your superpower side of you. And it's important to understand that that's happened there. It's there for a reason. And so your level of commitment to what you find important is remarkable. And what they're saying is, let's shift it so that what's important to you is in alignment with how you feel and in alignment with striving towards that peace,
Okay.
right? Not towards protecting and precautionary effects, right? Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Awesome. Yeah, it's beautiful. Oh my goodness. Look at time just flew by.
Yeah.
It's amazing how fast it goes. Oh my gosh. So, do you have any other questions that you would
Um,
like? Yeah.
no, the only thing is, I mean, I know you can't answer them like directly, but like my biggest thing, like I'm just very curious, like what I am here to do. And you already gave something where I thought I was on the path to do is like lead people, whether that be like directly or indirectly. But
Yep.
like I said, I've always had this strong feeling, and I even as a little kid, I always wondered like there's more to life than just what I see and what I'm doing, right? And then there's been a couple circumstances where either I thought I was supposed to die, or go to jail for a very long time, and I felt like there was just something looking out for me that said no, 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 there's a different path for you, and we need to keep you here. And
Yes.
then the flip side of that is though is because of some of those things from my past, like I feel like undeserving of like the good that happens to me because I have so much good that comes my way. And like there's times where I've had people, like good people that I know are good people, tell me things, and I'm like, they got to be lying, they have to be lying, because like I don't see what they see.
Right. And that's what you're on a mission to find right now.
Yeah.
Your mission is to find the good in you, but to recognize it and to own it. And we're not talking, superficial, and that. I know you do. It's understanding. So our sole purpose at the level that you're working with now, it's revealed as you participate.
Hmm.
So it's not like a job description where they say, okay, this is what you're meant to be doing, Jesse. It's an understanding. So we know it's in alignment with all the things that have happened, right? So it's definitely in alignment with change. Okay. Massive change, consistent change that occurs rapidly. Okay. So we know it's in alignment with that. It's definitely in alignment with leading people. Okay. It's also your level of commitment, right? They talked about that. We talked about that. So that level of commitment, and when you make a choice and decision, you go for it.
Mhm.
And people don't know how to do that. Not many people know how to
Yeah.
do that. And there is a huge part of, and you're very good at feeling, and you're now in the space of learning how to deal with your emotional reactions by feeling them rather than thinking your way through them. So all of these pieces, when you write those down, all of those pieces are part of your bigger purpose, and they weave together. That's why my hand is
Yeah.
they weave, right? And the pieces fit together, and then all of a sudden, the more you embrace them and you move towards them, then more is revealed, and you come up from the center and you're like, oh, that's what it is, that's what it's meant to do. But
Okay.
you can't, at the level that you're going, you can't, it's not like a job description where they're going to be like, Jesse, here, go do this, here's a
Right.
piece of
Right.
paper, right? It's an understanding that all of these experiences have been lessons you needed to learn in order for you and your purpose and your calling to be revealed to you,
Hmm.
right? And the more you participate, the more it's revealed.
Right.
Makes
Okay.
sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I love everything about this conversation. It's fantastic. Honest
Okay.
to goodness, your your openness and your humility as a human being is such a gift, and it's understanding that. Okay. So I want to explain this because they're showing me there's no such thing as bad people. There's
Yeah.
no such thing. Okay. Um, we do things as a result of what we believe is possible for us.
Hmm.
And the more you discover about your potential and your purpose and who you're meant to be, the more easeful it becomes to believe and to know you exist for a bigger reason, but it's being able to step into that reason, right? And so your history doesn't matter. And yet it matters because it's essential, because every experience you've had is about bringing you forward.
Okay.
And yeah, there's a few things. Um, yeah, I do see, um, it's like rehabilitation, but it's not, um, it's funny. It's not from, you know, drugs or alcohol, or, it's more uh, from not feeling,
Hmm.
and it feels like they said, change is going to occur quickly, and you have that ability to, it's like you can jump in any direction at any time because you're so good with change. And
Hmm.
what they're showing is, you know, it's rehab in this, it's funny how the way they're showing me, it's like boot camp almost, but for um I don't know if it's just guys, but it's for people. I heard like guys, and that's why it's not even men, because normally I would use the word men, but it's
Yeah.
guys, for guys who don't feel, and who don't recognize, and who don't want to recognize that they feel, even though you already are feeling, right?
Mhm.
And now you're lost in your feelings, but you have to navigate that first, right? And so that's the key, is understanding that the universe and your soul, like, they push you down the track of what you're meant to be doing first, and then you guide, right? A guide is someone who's already done it.
Mhm.
You can't guide people if you haven't done it yourself. And so that's why going through the journey and learning, and that's why they're saying too, the big questions are going to start to come up. and it's being able to ask them and being willing to get the answers in spite of what we think may be coming down the line, right?
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. How you feeling?
Good, good. Sorry, I got a little bug. Not actually, just been fighting it off for a couple of days.
Oh, my son has had that too. Oh,
Yeah.
well, I thank you. I thank you for showing up and being so open, and just your energy is amazing. It's just this, okay, I'm here and I want to know more of me. And for that, I am grateful. I love that you had trust in me and faith in me to share this with you, but also, you have the courage to share it in this way so that other people can learn as well, because that's the greatest gift we can give to humanity, right?
Right.
Is to other humans, is to be vulnerable, because vulnerability is the greatest strength humans have.
Mm-hmm.
It's not weakness, but we're all taught, oh, if I'm vulnerable, that's bad. That's bad.
Yeah.
It's a superpower.
Yeah.
So
I'm trying.
you're doing amazing,
Yeah.
Jesse. I thank you
Thank you.
so, so much. Thank you for being here, and thank you for sharing your story. I appreciate it. Thank
Perfect.
you.
Yeah.
And let me know these big questions as they come. And when you have other ones, please reach out and let me know. And we can do another conversation and have another conversation about these big questions as they're evolving, right?
Yeah, I definitely will.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, Michelle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye, Jesse.
Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this conversation and want to learn more, head on over to michellevickers.com. Join our mailing list to receive new episodes right to your inbox, or apply to be a guest on the show. If this episode made you think of someone while you were listening, forward the link onto that person with a little note about why it made you think of them, because the greatest gift you can give another human is to see the beauty and purity of who they truly are. Until next time, stay curious.